Hey, Tony Gas is here, popping in real quick. I ain't got too long, cause my game on, but they on a lightning delay right now. But I was reading my comments, and one of the ladies, she was saying that the guy he took the life of Charlie Kirk because of his beliefs. And the thing what you have to realize about when it come to taking somebody's life, it ain't really about the beliefs. It ain't really about it's underlying jealousy. That's why envy is one of the seven deadly sins, because envy is so dangerous. As the Bible tells us not to covet our neighbor's wife. That covetousness, that envy is so, when you angry that somebody is something that you're not. And because just like majority of the stuff that people say, we might not agree with, but we don't go out and take their life. But when somebody, and I want you to think back to like these rappers and stuff being killed, like Nipsey Hussle. Like nobody could say Nipsey Hussle was spreading hate. Nobody could say Nipsey Hussle, once he changed his life and got out the streets, like he was somebody that people was looking up to. Like he was motivating the youth and telling people to, come out the gangs, change your life. But the guy who took his life was jealous. And so that's why you got to confront your heart, and you got to make sure that you're not jealous of anybody. And the way you do that is you got to understand that nothing you see is real. You can't believe none of what you see. Everybody is hurting at times, not all the time, but everybody hurts. Everybody goes broke. Everybody feels lonely. Everybody feels unloved. Everybody feels mistreated. These are not constant things, but we all go through all of those emotions. So you have to realize that you should never, ever in your life envy another human, because what you're seeing is not their constant reality. That's what you have to realize. See, I am fortunate enough to be a life coach on mymentor.life, which you need to join. If you're a life coach or consultant, it's going to ask you for your certificate. You can just upload a picture of yourself right there. But you need a professional headshot, or go to get AI to make you turn one of your camera phone pictures into a professional headshot for you. But join that. It's only $200 for the year. And you start working with you some clients and helping people. When I went behind the curtain and I started helping people as a life coach, that's when I learned really about the human experience. And that's what helped me eradicate jealousy from my heart. Because I understand that there's always an opposing feeling. Where there's happiness, there's sadness. Where there's joy, there's pain. Where there's success, there's failure. Where there's wins, there's losses. Where there's ups, there's downs. And so I learned that nobody's life is better than mine. Nobody is doing any better than I'm doing. And everybody has to face their own problems at some time. So I have nothing to be jealous of. I have nothing to worry about, because God got me. And I know that although I may go through, and although it may be hard, and it may be tough times, I know God has got me. I know He's going to deliver. I know He's going to make a way out of no way. I don't know how. I don't know when. I don't even know why, but I know He will. And that faith allows me to not compare my life to anybody. And I trust God, I listen to God, I'm obedient to God. And if God say, hey, go here, go there, do this, do that, ask this, say this, I'm obedient. And if I do it and I just did it from my own will, or I did it and I thought it was God, and then it doesn't come to fruition, then I know that it wasn't God, that I was listening to myself and put it on God. So I don't compare. I don't live for praise or applause, and nor do I want to hate on anybody else that's living their life, doing their thing. With this Charlie Kirk situation, is so polarizing, and I seen some black women in the comments say they agree with a lot of what Charlie said. Say they agree. Some of them say they looked and seen that he was a Christian. They feel like he was a true man of God. And I believe that he could have been a Christian, but being a Christian in title don't mean you are Christ-like. So his behavior and his rhetoric, even in full context, some people say that stuff was taken out of context, but even in full context, I done watched very long videos, he still was not Christ-like, because Christ is humble, and Christ does not incite, nor does Christ seek to excite, nor is Christ political. That there was governments and things like that being built in the Bible and all of that, but Christ was not into politics. There's no right and left with Christ. There's good and evil. Christ is not Republican, nor is Christ Democrat. Christ has nothing to do with politics. Politics is a man-made construct that creates the government, but it has nothing to do with heaven or hell. You're not going to hell for being a Democrat. You're not going to heaven for being a Republican. That is not a requirement of God. There are Republicans just like Democrats. Both of them lie, steal, cheat, abuse, abandon. They both flawed. Has nothing to do with Jesus Christ. Nothing at all. Jesus Christ was not in America. Jesus Christ was not a part of a government. He opposed the government. He said, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. But when faced with the government, he stood his ground as the Son of God. He did not bow. He did not pick a side. He said, I am my Father's son, and I am the way, the truth, and the life. And I'm here but only for that reason, to bring salvation, so that you can live in heaven with me and my Father and spend your eternity. That's it. He didn't say choose this, that, none of that. So you have to realize that not everybody that says Jesus Christ is Christ-like. And you have to understand that everything about Jesus is love. It's not excluding anyone. If you accept Christ as your Lord and Savior, and you choose to live by the teachings of the Lord, then you are a Christian. If you don't, and as people say that, oh, when you get your salvation, you can never lose your salvation. Well, does that apply to transvestites? Does that apply to homosexuals? Does that apply to the people that are Democrat or Republican? So it's a lot of things that people really don't know what they talking about. But you have to read your Holy Bible, and you got to know Christ for yourself. Don't go off what nobody on the internet, including myself, says. You have to know Christ for yourself. And the thing about it is, it's not to say that Jesus Christ and the message of Jesus Christ isn't offensive when it offends sin. But the stuff that a lot of people talk about is not even about sin. Like when you're talking about DEI and black people being given jobs because they're black, that has nothing to do with heaven or hell. It has nothing to do with righteousness, good or evil, Jesus Christ. That's politics. And Christ has nothing to do with politics, especially American politics. If we were in the land where Christ was born and raised, or what he represented, then it might be a different story. So you have to realize and understand that that's when somebody has personal prejudice. Somebody brought up, oh, Tony, you describing prejudice, or you confusing prejudice and racism. It's the same thing. The definition is different, but the heart's posture is the same. If you prejudice, you are racist. Now, prejudice could deal with other things other than race. But if you're prejudiced as it relates to race, you are racist. But it's just prejudice could relate to the food you don't like. Prejudice could relate to the jobs you don't like. Whereas racism is just based on race. But if you are prejudiced about someone's race, that is racism. So understand that and stop arguing semantics and understand the harsh posture. Also remember that God did not write Webster's dictionary. God wrote the heart of the human. And the devil came to corrupt and steal the heart of the human. So it doesn't matter what comes out of someone's mouth. And it doesn't matter if they attach Jesus Christ's name to it. You have to look at the heart and the intention of their heart. And that's what you got to realize. And I heard Charlie Kirk say in a debate with a young black man, when the young black man said, you said that if you see a black pilot, you're going to be like, oh, I hope he's good enough. And Charlie said, yes, I did say that. And the black boy said, all DEI is access. It's giving us a seat at the table. And Charlie was like, no, they're actually relaxing on the standards for black pilots. And it's like, that right there is prejudice. Because to think that they're going to let someone not be fully qualified to fly a plane just because they're black, that right there is, whether you want to call it prejudice or racism, it is ignorant. Because DEI does not afford people a position where thousands and thousands and thousands of lives are on the line because you black. I done been on a plane every week of the year some years, and I've never seen a black pilot. So, and the one I seen, I can't even remember if I really seen them. I know they exist, but every plane I done got off of, it's been a white man. And so to even make an argument about something like that, it is just bringing up stuff that is irrelevant. And so that's what y'all have to realize and understand. Don't just attach Christ to everything, because just like 90% of the pastors today get in the pulpit with a personal opinion and attach it to Christ, just because somebody say they're a Christian don't mean that they called by God, don't mean that they speaking on behalf of God. You got to pay attention to the heart and to the intent. Because if somebody of another race who has been raped and beat and pillaged, discriminated against, their settlements have been burned to the ground, if they are afforded a seat at the table in the name of DEI, why do you care? Why do you care? Why muddle your nose in the business of an oppressed people? when you got the choice. If you get on a plane and they got a black pilot and you think a black pilot is inferior, then you could get off the plane. If you go to get surgery and they got a black surgeon and you think a black surgeon is inferior, you can ask for a different surgeon. Every single doctor death on Netflix is white. I have not seen a doctor death that was black, a surgeon. The only black surgeon that we are ever told about is the man who inspired the movie Gifted Hands, or whatever it was called. So I just read about a black lady who she created the software that allow us to have Skype and Zoom and WhatsApp video. This a black lady that I just found out about on September 13th, 2025. Never knew that. That's why DEI was created. To give people who come from marginalized groups the opportunity to be at the same table with white men if they are qualified. It is never to put somebody who is unqualified in position. But that is what a racist or a bigoted person doesn't understand. DEI is not about placing unqualified people in jobs. It's about placing the qualified people who come from a marginalized community in place. That's why the workers you see are not inferior. They just different. They diverse. And so this is what you got to realize is a lot of our stuff, what we be talking about, come from jealousy or hate. Because think about this. Think about with racism. If somebody is an inferior race, why are you arguing with them? Why are you mad with them? Why do you hate them? Why do you want to box them out, keep them away from opportunities? Why would you want to do that if they're inferior to you? When something is inferior to you, you don't even pay it attention. You overlook it. You let it do whatever it want to do because it's inferior to you. You don't care about it. It's like me arguing with an ant. It's like I could crush your head. Why am I gonna argue with you? Why am I gonna red line you? Why am I gonna gentrify you, ant? Why am I gonna crucify you, ant? Why, if something is inferior to me, I'm not going back and forth. I'm not debating you. So what people don't even understand about racism itself, it is jealousy. It's envy. Because here's the thing that racists and slave owners and the people who created all this stuff, here's what they realized. When they got up close to black people, they start to say, and this is white men, when they got around them black slaves and they seen them boys naked and they seen that thing down there swinging, that baby arm, and they seen black men that was 5'4" with an 8, 9, 10 incher on soft, that's gonna make you feel away. When you look down and you see that your stomach has never seen an ab, and you look at this black man and he looked like he was hand chiseled by God, that's gonna make you feel away. When you look over at your wife and she looking at his naked body up there on that trading selling block, and she looking at that meat leg hanging, you're gonna feel away. So what y'all got to understand, that racism itself, slavery, all that itself come from envy. When you see these black people go to working with their hands and the stuff they could build, the stuff they could do, and at the speed and the rate they could do it, you say, oh my goodness. Are these people chosen by God? If I let these people do what they want to do, if I give these people comfort and ease in a land of dreams, I will become their slave. That's what white men realized when they met black people. And that's right there's a truth that, God forbid, could get me killed. So the same way Charlie Kirk was opinionated on his side of things, I'm equally as opinionated. That's why I say he didn't deserve to die. I'm equally as opinionated on my side of things. It just, I tell a different story. I don't feel inadequate. I don't feel inferior. I don't feel like DEI is doing me any favors. I feel like DEI is paying me what it owe me. I feel like I need reparations because of what my people done went through, knowing I ain't gonna get them unless I become the president and I declare it. And one day, my name get big enough, I'm running for president. I might be the first independent president. I'm running for president. And one day, and guess what? If I get in there, I'm doing just like what Trump doing. Anything I want to. Reparation. All the black people, reparation. Everybody been marginalized, reparation. Listen, do what you want to do, but you got to answer to God. That gonna be my thing. Not no totalitarianism. God give us free will. If God give us free will, who am I to take your free will? If God gave us a brain, and a brain could take and create, and we have choice of what we do. And that's what people, so one of the things that people were saying, you know, as Charlie was saying, you can't be a Christian and disagree with what Charlie's saying because he chose pro-life. The thing about it is God tell us that murder is a sin, but he don't stop us from murdering. He give you a choice. He say murder is a sin, and the law say murder is a crime. He also tell us to obey the laws of the land, the government that you in. That's why the slave masters used that scripture that said for the slaves to work as if they working unto the Lord. Because God understood that there's certain government, certain systems, certain lands that you in, that there's going to be things that are legalized. But just because it's legal don't mean that it's ethical or moral. So God say, if it's legalized in your region, that slavery is legal, and you happen to be a slave, instead of you pouting and complaining, instead of you killing your slave master, work as if you working unto the Lord. And the slave master took and used that. They took and used that. But see, God know what he doing. God knew that he gonna set the captives free. So the same way he sent Moses, he sent people to set the slaves in America free. That's why we got our freedom now. Because the Bible we was reading set us free. The same Bible that certain people tried to use against us is the same Bible that we leaned on for instruction, for strength, for guidance, and to walk in love. Because love conquers all. And that's how we became free. See, it is of Satan to return hate for hate. But see, what MLK got wrong is he couldn't be faithful to his wife. So Charlie Kirk said he was a bad person. And then now that Charlie has been assassinated, like MLK was assassinated, people are saying Charlie is a bad person. A lot of people saying Charlie is a bad person. Well, that's why the Bible say Judge not so that you be not judged. You got to be okay with being judged if you decide to judge. That's why I tell y'all, I'm not your judge. I'm just warning you. God is your judge. But if I say somebody is a bad person, I can't get mad if people turn around and say I'm a bad person. And that's the argument. So one thing you're going to realize about me when you listen to the whole message is I'm going to be balanced. It ain't about my opinion. It's about God's facts. It ain't about my facts. One thing that I would notice that people be doing is they be quoting so-called statistics. You can't believe the stuff you read online. If it ain't a fact that's backed up by God, then it holds no weight. You can't believe nothing that you read that wasn't written or inspired by God, including your statistics. You got to go to God for the stats. Point blank period. Hey, it's Tony Jackson. All the important links in the description. God bless you. We producing a film, trying to back into the film making full-fledged. So would love your support on this first project. The link is in the description. Help me get this here off the ground. Also in the unscripted, we already shot that. Still waiting on the editing. I never hit the editor up Monday. Have him go get on that, get on out there. And just because it's a form of media and people using the media for the wrong things, so I'm coming in to use the media for the right things. So God rest Charlie Kirk's soul. I'm a bit like he is, just different. I'm not worried about race, other races getting stuff that I'm not worried about all that. I'm not getting caught up in the minutia. I'm not worried about taking a woman right to do what she want to do with her body. That's between her and God. Because God, the Bible says, thou should not kill. So if God deems an abortion as her killing, then she have to answer for that. But it's not my place to tell her that she can't do that, because I'm not God. And God tell us what we can't do. But it's not my place to tell somebody to make a law to make somebody do what I think is right. That's not of God. God is not a totalitarian. God is not a dictator. God gives free will. And guess what? There is a free hell to burn in if you choose to do what God says you should not be doing. And so, because it's not expressly clear if God considers an abortion a murder, if it's an embryo or whatever they trying to call it, fetus, whatever it is, that's going to be between their heart posture and God's word, and they only can answer to God. And it ain't my place to come and legislate laws that steal people free will. I would never legislate against somebody changing their sex. If that's what you want to do, I'm not finna be all up under you. I'm not finna be all around you. God, all right, God bless you, brother. Okay, you want to become a girl? Oh, you gonna have periods too? God bless you. You want to have babies? God bless you. All right, bro, go ahead. All right, brother. God bless you. But I'm not finna get into legislation against what you could do with your body. That's on you, brother. You want to be a woman? Sister, you want to be a man? Okay, God bless you. Keep your head up. That's on you. You got, if God is against that, then you're gonna have to talk to God. You got to go to the scripture. And if you don't believe in God, God also allows that. And that's what a lot of these Christians don't realize. Jesus Christ is about love. You can't take your own prejudice, your own racism, your own hate, your own disdain, and put that on Jesus. Jesus ain't hate nobody. He spoke out against sin, but he loved everybody. He treated everybody. The Bible says God has no respect of persons. It's about love and free will and answering to God. And everybody got the opportunity. And that's what we getting wrong. We trying to legislate our feelings. We trying to legislate our opinions just because we sin differently. Everybody sin. Everybody error. So you can't pick and choose who you want to govern and who you want to dictate and dominate when it's things that you benefiting from and things that you doing as a human being that's not being legislated against. Just like the gun laws. As many people that believe in being able to have guns, it's just as many people that believe we shouldn't have guns. So who's to say one is right, one is wrong? What's right is free will. If you want to have one, you can have one. If you don't want to have one, you don't want to have one. But when you show up to a gunfight with a knife, God bless you. God bless you. You had a choice and you chose not to have one. Bye. If you get into it with somebody with one, guess what? I don't believe in guns. I don't think we should have guns. But because they out there and they legal, and the Bible says obey the laws of the land, got me one. You wanna whip out? I'm whipping. Yeah. Yeah. I don't like them. Don't believe in it. Don't want to have no parts of it. But because you want to participate, and now you want to raise your voice and go to draw for something, finna lay you down. Finna lay you down. And it's legal. It is legal. I'm obeying the laws of the land. That's self-defense. You see what I'm saying? So you got to go into the caveats and the nuances in this stuff and get your mind right. And we all gonna get canceled one day. And I just pray that God chooses and decides when I go out. Because I don't know if it's God's will. And I don't know how he covers us. Because I can't say that Charlie Kirk was displeasing to God because he was assassinated. Because Jesus was crucified. Apostle Paul was beheaded, if I'm not mistaken. So, who's to say? That's up to God. And I think we need to stop trying to be judge and jury and decide who's a Christian, who's not a Christian, who is of God, who not of God, and we need to look at the fruits of the Spirit. And one thing that a lot of so-called Christians are not exemplifying are the fruits of the Spirit. So if you don't have empathy, if you don't have care and concern, love, kindness, peace, then you don't have the fruits of the Spirit. And you're not operating of God. You're not being Christ-like. So that's how you always can tell if someone is sent by Christ. Do they exemplify the attributes of Christ? And if the answer is no, then they're not sent by Christ. Point blank period. They could be a professing Christian. Don't mean that God has called them, anointed and ordained them if the attributes are not there. God bless you. Keep your head up. We'll talk soon. Hey, and I'm going to be a voice whether you like it or don't. All you're going to come over here and do is get debate. Is get blocked. Block and delete. That's my hoodie. I don't debate. I'm not a debater. Block! This my page. I'm going to say what I am led to say. You keep your opinion to yourself. Or you put your opinion on your page. This my page on debate. Block!